It's time to make America great again. Time to create a superpower state again. Time to put them in their place again. Allied with the KKK, the fake sheikhs again. Fascists around the world, time to awaken them. National Front, EDL, all the same as them. Matching ideologies that nurtured and created them. Just bona fide, pure, straight racism. Forget great again. It's time to make America hate again. Time to kill, torture, pillage, and rape again. Time to thieve and take again. Oil and foreign resources confiscating them. The already broken, time to make them break again. Time to make the world tremble in fear, quake and shake again. So let's go. It's afoot now, the game's on. Of all heads of state, now we got a fake one. The poor, the helpless who he preys on, banning people depending on where they came from. Won't be surprised after 4 years if he stays on, because racism is infectious and it stays strong. If not resisted from the start, it may go for a while, but it will never stay gone. And we'll get more wars on brown and black people, more profiling, more Trayvons. But before we look at what's to come, let's look to the past. Let's look to the stories witnessed by God, the sun, and the stars. Let's listen to the voices of the oppressed, the pains and the scars. Let's look to history, from the first to the last, for his story, hers, their story is ours. So, built on stolen land through the massacres of indigenous tribes, off the back of slave labor, human beings, innocent lives, power maintained by looting nations, military might, killing and lies, a history of death indisputable. No matter how much he or she tries, the truth battered and bruised, but it never lies. So turn off the TV, awaken, and we open our eyes and realize that we're living in difficult times. That's why we put it in rhymes, mixing facts with similes and signs. So let's see. They killed Malcolm, killed Martin, Allende, Lumumba, and countless more, crushing internal opposition and the controls of people, home and abroad, through drones, black water, weapons companies, and wars, all the while saying, we ain't got money to give to the poor, while sending another lot of soldiers on military tours, those bored who find enjoyment in bashing through doors, cracking skulls and breaking jaws, all for wars in contravention of all ethical codes and international laws. So from its creation, a nation propping up a system of racial and classist discrimination, from schooling, housing, policing to the courts. That didn't end with desegregation and rounding up indigenous peoples into reservations, with free healthcare denied to poor and needy patients, hatred spewed from the streets, TV and radio stations. And they call themselves a Christian nation. Their hypocrisy now unabashed and brazen, for how much of their wealth can be traced back to the slavery plantation? Theft of human beings and sold to the highest bidder where they placed them, and now trying to shut borders for those escaping deprivation. So while the whole world looking at refugees and some trying to save them, remember whose foreign policy it was that helped create them. And this ain't the first time they've done this for those escaping war and starvation. Remember, the Jews fleeing the Nazi Holocaust. America's response? Nah, we can't take them. Sent the ship back to certain death in Europe, back to the devastation. And now have military bases all over the world stationed, with interference in countries close by, Cuban and Haitian, and even further afield you got African, Middle East, and Asian, with bombs dropped on the Congo, Lebanon, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki. So whether it's a Paki, raghead, chink, or a darky, country built on racism, stoking fear, forcing poor people to enlist in the army, to leave countries decimated. Somali, Afghani, Iraqi, and then you have Agent Orange slowly killing women, Vietnamese, and men. Internment camps for the Americans of Japanese descent. It came, stayed for a while, and then freedom went, resurrected as terror and fear now, misleading them, deceiving them with media lies and misinformation, got the people believing them. So imagine if Jesus rose up, and to this new land he was sent to tell them to turn to God and please repent. Tell them to look after the poor, the shackled, start releasing them, and to share what they had been given. A warning to turn back from the lives they'd been living. They wouldn't listen. Probably put him on trial and lock him in prison for teaching justice that they called sedition. So at best, a petulant child, a devilish terrorist state in the worst case, bombing all over the globe, making the earth shake, sterilizing and infecting women to impact the indigenous birth rate, slavery, the KKK, WMDs, an infamous birthplace. So Mr. President, please tell me, when was America ever great in the first place? Thank you.